Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast brought to you by the Hot Take Hot Box. We are here fresh off of UFC 296. Leon Rocky Edwards defends his 170 title in one of the most easy coasting fights I've ever seen in my life. What a snooze fest that was. Alexandre Pantoja, or Pantoja, is what I've learned this weekend. That's what John Anna kept calling him. So I guess, I always learn new stuff when I watch the broadcast and learn how to say fellas' new names. My name is Matt McSweeney. I am joined by Ty Capone, the Ty Capone. Ty, how are you feeling? Did you enjoy the fights? I think, we kind of discussed it before this. Maybe the last couple weren't that good, but the card overall was pretty good.
Yeah, started out hot. I think the first 5 fights were finishes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 5. And then the first decision was one of the fights of the year, one of the best women's fights ever.
We'll talk about that.
And then another banger in the Menafield Jacoby. That fight was awesome. And then you start off the main card with Emmett absolutely nuking Bryce Mitchell. And then I guess, honestly, I guess you can say the card fell off from there, which is kind of crazy to say, but I think it really peaked with that Emmett knockout. And then the Paddy fight was entertaining in spurts, but then it kind of just fizzled out. And I did not like what I saw overall from Paddy.
No.
And then the Shavkat Steven Wonder Boy fight, a little slow, but kind of methodical, right? I thought what Shavkat was doing was smart, and I thought he was definitely going to get that finish. I mean, I thought the sub, once he got it in, and Wonder Boy made him battle, but he was able to pretty much do what he wanted to. And then you had the 2 championship fights. I thought the co-main was good. I know there were some boo birds coming out, but much better than the main event. I think that they doubled up the main event fighters' strikes in the co-main. So
yeah,
overall, very good night, I would say, for fights. You don't really see prelims pop off like that, I would say, more than the main card that often.
So, main event, UFC 296, last card of the year. There's everybody's in the building, all sorts of famous people. Sean Strickland and DDP are brawling at cage side.
Right next to each other. That was good.
What did you think of that? Obviously, it's not the biggest deal, but it's the least shocking thing. When they showed Sean Strickland and I saw Driscus behind him, I'm surprised they haven't fought yet. I don't understand why.
And then they did 3 seconds later.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's the best, though. He turned around. I don't know what Driscus said, or even if he just, Sean just realized that he was behind him. He's like, wait, that guy's right there. The best was him looking at Gilbert Burns' son and going, yo, can you slide over real quick a little bit? Yo, can
Scooch
you
over,
move?
buddy.
And the second he moved out of range, he just hopped right over them seats. And, hey, man, we need more. I know this is not the politically correct thing to say, but we need a little bit more heat behind these fights. It makes it way more exciting now. We're shooting below the belt here. I know a lot of people are okay with people shooting below Sean Strickland's belt, but listen, none of it's okay. You can't in one sentence tell me that it's not okay for Colby to say things about one guy's dead father, and then it's okay for Driscus to say stuff about him being sexually molested and stuff like.
Yeah.
I think none of this is good. That's my opinion of it all.
And then he tells Driscus to go fuck his coach.
Yeah, that's you can see that pissed him off, man. It probably would piss me off too. So
hey, we know how to get under Sean Strickland's get under his skin now. So if anybody wants to try that, which I do not recommend, because he stands on business.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. He's definitely about that life. But the main event, the entrances cool, everything cool. The fight itself, though, Ty, it was a snoozer, man. I'm not usually one to say that. Colby really did nothing. He started this fight off and just let his legs get chewed up. I thought he was going to try and push a pace on Leon Edwards, and he was going to try and get in his face and make him active, and I thought maybe at one point you would see Edwards rock him, which, Colby's been known to get rocked, but his recovery has always been, pretty good just due to that cardio that he has and just the, like we said, pressure, pace, everything that he puts on him. But Ty, I mean, the first 2 rounds he essentially just gave away. He really didn't do anything. He circled the outside of the cage. He let Leon control the center, and that was it. Like you could just tell right away. It's like, oh wow, like I'm on the wrong side here. I mean, that's what I had. I know you're a smart man that keeps staying away from these main events because it just doesn't seem like it ever, equals out or works well. I thought that the line about his father was obviously not good. You shouldn't say shit like that. That's just wrong. But I think in the mental warfare aspect, I think it was a good, smart thing to do because it looked like it was Edwards. You never seen him throw bottles or get that worked up. So maybe you were gonna try and get him off his game and maybe get him to go wild and you'd be able to take him down, or I don't know, but I just don't get what Colby's game plan was because he said that it was part of his game plan to stay on the outside, and I'm like, well, then you need to go back to the drawing board or get new coaches because in no way, like I'm just a regular guy, and I could have told you that's not the way to win this fight. You staying on the outside is exactly what Leon Edwards wants you to do, and it was just kind of a little bit of a point fest that there was a couple of. I mean, I think he didn't shoot his first takedown until what, the 3rd round. It felt like I don't know.
One in the first, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Half-hearted attempt.
Half-hearted, right? It didn't seem like it was really a sincere one. The one I think later on in the fight he started to pin him up against the cage and he wasn't having true success, but he eventually did get him to the ground based off of Leon himself trying to get him to the ground, which he did do at one point. So it wound up being what, 50-45 and then a 49-46. I think that's what I probably would have had it at. You might have been able to give him that. I think it was the 4th round, but that one was close, and I don't see really. I mean, the only round he won, Colby, was the last round. Other than that, it was kind of all Leon Edwards. So I guess, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I kind of had the same overarching opinion. I guess overall, I thought Leon landed the better shots, obviously, and he went to the body pretty well. He went to the legs. There was a lot of leg kicking. His jab was really working well. Colby wasn't really just he couldn't land anything. I think he landed 34% of his strikes, significant strikes. So yeah, all around, just when he finally got to take down the 3rd round, he got taken down himself.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment for Leon, and yeah, I mean that's like. How many times has Colby done that? I guess it did work, right? Because Leon backstage, he said he was crying backstage. He was so worked up and so fired up with emotions, but he was able to hone it all in. Also came in weighing 185 on fight night, so he was able to. It was clear that he was a stronger man, I think, in there.
Yeah.
Colby always talks about how he fights at 170, he walks around at 170 because that's his weight class and whatnot, but. So maybe that's a little against working against him, I guess. But you remember he made fun of the Black Zillion founder or owner, Glenn Robinson, when he died, saying something about him going to hell. Said something about Kamaru's dad, who's in jail or was in jail. So yeah, I mean, I love all the talk, all the shit talking. It's the UFC in some ways. What Dana says, like. It's the fight game, very cliche and annoying, but in some ways he is correct. But if you're going to be indecent just for the sake of indecency, I don't think that's interesting. I don't think that's clever. I don't think that's funny. I think that's just, if you're listen, if it's going to get a pop, like what he said about Ian Gary's wife, who here has fucked Ian Gary's wife? And the crowd goes crazy. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I thought
that's funny.
Even that's a little too much, but Ian Gary, if he was there, he should have been there, and then maybe he could have, done something about it, but also, he kind of deserves it with all the shit he did with Vicente Luque on his Instagram picture. That was corny as fuck. So he deserves some of the flack coming his way. Leon Edwards, obviously there's things about his dad being a drug lord or a warlord or some kind of whatever, being involved in criminal activity. But I don't think that has anything to do. I know actually it doesn't have anything to do with Leon's connection with his own father that gave birth to him and the despair that he is in from losing him at a young age. Like, so. Colby and his fans, just absolute shitbags. And now Colby is the first fighter to ever lose 3 undisputed title fights. So hopefully he doesn't get another one.
I think what and honestly, I didn't really talk about it in my little monologue, which I should have mentioned is why I'm more. This is partially is why I'm upset at myself for picking Colby is the fact that I did not know that he was going to kind of fall off a cliff like you had made mention of in our preview pod. It seemed like that line we talk about, and you could say it, the line of what?
Demarcation.
The line of demarcation, that being when you turn 35 and you are in this title picture spot, that the odds are 100% stacked against you. Not maybe 100%, but numbers aren't in your favor. You start to fall off a little bit. Him being off for what? Almost 2 years. It looked like it was a factor. And maybe it's ring rust, like he made mention of, which is an excuse. That's just an excuse. Dominic Cruz has told us, many a time that it's not real. I think there is a part of it, but I think a lot of it is mental. I think that's why Dom Cruz says it's not real, because there's really no thing to say that you should be, like maybe you're just not comfortable or whatever, but it's not like he just forgot how to fight in the last couple of years. It's more that he wasn't comfortable in there, and you could tell it right away. His stance was weird. Did you see? Like, he was just like standing upright and just eating leg kick after leg kick, and he kept he came out like fighting orthodox. And so, like, Leon was matching him, but, like, I just didn't understand the whole I'm going to stand here and strike with you. Like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out on my sword. That's kind of how Colby's always been, where he will, just keep trying to shoot that takedown and keep trying to get it to the ground, even if it's just, hopeless, he's still going to keep trying to go for it. And I don't know. I don't get why he waited so long to try and enact some of his game plan. Now, Leon presents a big problem on getting inside because he's so fast. He was so much faster than him, especially standing in the striking department. And he's much bigger than him, just stature-wise. I don't know about height and all that, but I just think, like you made mention of, 185 plus, in there, when Leon or Colby's probably like a 175. Like he's made mention of, he's not cutting a ton of weight, so I don't know. I thought maybe he might wait the first round, wait a little bit to kind of, maybe a couple, some of the steam comes off those punches from Leon, but he really didn't. He never went, and I don't get it, and I don't feel bad for him at all. He's talked all this shit. He has created a situation where all this hate is surrounding him at all times, and he deserves it because he fought like a coward on Saturday.
Yeah, the leg kicks really kind of just were a big factor early on. By the time Colby wanted to try to wrestle, he was already kind of behind the eight ball, round wise, and just in general. Like, he couldn't really plant his leg into the ground and drive and get that takedown like he could if he was fresh.
Yeah,
in the first two rounds. So yeah, just a big mistake, and they should give him Shavkat next. That should be the his final straw.
Shavkat for Colby, you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean,
ragdoll him.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. I would obviously pick Shavkat. I think he's just a much more well-rounded. I think, didn't we? I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure either you had the bet that he was going to be the champion by the end of the year, and it's not your fault. This guy, he definitely could be. If this was him in this fight, we might be talking about a different story about and new as opposed to and still. But I guess what Colby's at 3 now. He's going to drop down a little bit. Shavkat's at 5. He's going to hop up a little bit. So it might not even be worth Shavkat's time to fight a Colby Covington esque guy. Leon's already said he's not that Bilal is not worthy of a title shot. I think that's more of just hate from Bilal sitting around and not really kind of just sitting on his number. But I don't get that, dude, because Leon was a guy who was denied multiple times and was kind of, felt like he was wronged and felt like he was getting screwed over and over again, and lots of bad luck and things of that nature. So I don't know why he would then turn as soon as he gets, in somewhat of a position of power and is going to say, nah, Bilal, you're not worthy. Like, if it's not Bilal, then who does he think he should fight?
Yeah, Shavkat would be a much harder fight for him than Bilal. Bilal would be, I don't want to say an easy fight, but I think Leon beats Bilal 100%. I think he's better than him all around.
It would kind of look similar to this Colby fight, honestly. I do believe that.
So, does he want Shavkat next? Because that's much. He will lose that fight, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And other than that, it's Gilbert Burns. He's fighting. What's his name? Who's he fighting? Is it Jack Della or no?
No. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They just announced it for $299. Jack Della.
That'd
Which,
be nasty. So
yeah, man, that's gonna be exciting. I mean,
so,
Gilbert
like, there's
Burns is
nobody
gonna
really
smash
else.
him. For the record, let me just say
Yeah,
that.
I think so. But if he's that chin might be compromised.
Yeah.
He's getting up there in age too. But
Uh-oh.
he should. After what we saw in his last fight with Jack Della, yeah, I'm with you there. But also, it's funny that Kamaru Usman's still number 1 in the welterweight division. That should definitely be number like 3 or 4. And Colby right now for 3. Right now is 3, but he will definitely fall out of the top 5. Sean Brady might enter the top 5 or top 6. Who knows? We shall see. We shall see. The welterweight division, not the best. Looking at it for 1 to 15, I'm not too enthused. I don't see that many like prospects ish. I guess if you want to count Ian Gary and Jack Della. I like Renat at 15, but we've seen him kind of.
Yeah, he had a
fall apart
rough
in the
showing
third.
the last time out. Yeah.
So 170 is deep, I'll say that. But contender wise, I don't know, man. Kamaru's on his way out. Bilal, I don't think is that young. Colby's on his way out. Gilbert's on his way out. Wonderboy's out, as far as I'm concerned. I think Shavkat's ascending. Leon's the champ. Sean Brady, I guess, is ascending. Jeff Neal's kind of old, but I think Jeff Neal just got that Ian Machado Gary fight.
Yes, he did. $299 as well. That's the next time we're gonna be like.
$299 looks good. We definitely have something to talk about there. But yeah, this the whole thing with Ian Gary wearing the mugshot of Jeff Neal as a T-shirt. I hope Jeff Neal has something for him when they fight, because I will be cheering for him to get a. I will be betting on him to get a TKO. So let's do it.
As will I. So, good on Leon Edwards. I would like to see them just. I don't want to see Bilal, but I think we have to have that fight happen to kind of just get it out of the way, so that we can stop hearing Bilal complain. But for me, it's either Bilal or Shavkat. That's pretty much it. Maybe if the Gilbert Burns fight was sooner, then you could say that, but I don't know. I would like to see, like, Sean Brady. UFC's coming to Atlantic City soon, so he says he wants to be at the top of that card. That would be interesting. I don't know who he would fight at the top of that card. Maybe, let's
Luque?
It could be Luque. Give us Colby. Give us a Colby Covington.
That'd be awesome,
That would be
honestly.
sick. Just a wrestle. He would. I think Sean Brady would fuck.
He would dog.
Fuck Colby Covington up, but
Yeah, he would dog
at
him.
this point, but I don't know. Maybe Colby Covington just had an off night. I don't know, but I doubt that. I think you.
I think he's done.
I think he might be done. And
His best was
honestly, good riddance.
the first Usman fight.
yeah, he
think
looked good in
that's where
that
he
second
peaked.
one too.
But it just wasn't as close
No.
as the first one. I thought the first one was 2-2 going in the 5th.
Yep.
The second one, I think he might have lost 3-2, 4-1.
Might have lost
in
the
a close,
first 3 rounds, and then I think he won the
Yeah.
last 2. I think that's what kind of how
Yeah.
it was. And,
But,
that third
yeah, I
round
think
was
ever
like
since then-
where he like lost the first 3 minutes, and then he got dropped at one. Like, it was just a wild fight, but that was just a perfect. It just goes to show you that these matchups are kind of like they dictate everything. It's
Yeah.
all matchup based. And then you see a Colby get in here with a guy like Leon, and it looks like an absolute snooze. Like snooze fest. Before this fight, we would have thought this was going to be exciting either way. Like maybe a head kick, maybe Colby was very concerned about the body and head kicks, which he took that out of play. It wasn't really a factor other than that one landed on the back of the head, kind of. But
Yeah.
yeah, listen, good for Leon Edwards. I'm happy that he. I'm honestly happy that he won, because I don't think I would have been. Even I would have won money, so that would have been great. But don't think we would have. It would have been fun dealing with Colby sitting on the title for probably another year and waiting to fight somebody. So, did you see Islam saying that he wants to fight Leon Edwards? Do you
I would
care
love
about
to
that
see
at all?
that. But I think Leon's more likely to go. Well, actually, I guess if Leon can stay at 170, which I'm sure he can, he just, he's not that big. He's not like Sean Brady, who cuts up to rehydrates up to 193, which is fucking wild.
Yeah.
And Islam's a big boy. I think Islam would go up. I think Islam would beat Leon fairly easily. I think.
I do too, honestly. I mean,
Bad matchup.
he might be the only guy that would be the one thing that he could that would absolutely solidify his legacy and make him better than Khabib. Truly. I know that kind of sounds like I've been trying to push this narrative, but I do believe it. Like, I think he has all the capabilities and skills to be better than Khabib. Khabib was better in one thing than him, and I think he's the best all-around guy that's come out of that area. I think if he cooks a Leon Edwards and becomes the champ, then really what can you say? Because that is the one thing we always kind of said about Khabib. He was a weight bully, yada, 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 all that nonsense. But, I mean, that would just be a super fight, awesome sort of event, which they could do for 300 if they don't get McGregor and Chandler to sign on the dotted line. So there we go. Let's keep it moving. We spent enough time on the main event. We have to get to the co-main event. The UFC Flyweight Championship stays in Brazil. Alexandre Pantoja, not to be confused with Alexandre Pantoja. He takes out Brandon Royval in a somewhat one-sided, just grappling dominance that Pantoja was able to implement against Brandon Royval. It's just kind of a hole in his game, and Pantoja is so good at that one thing that he just overwhelmed him and just dominated him, and there really wasn't anything for Brandon Royval. Royval did good in little spurts when Pantoja was tired. Pantoja gets really visibly tired in these fights. And everyone's like, wow, this guy's really gassing out. And then he gets a takedown, holds him down for 3 minutes. So what did you think of this fight? I know we talked about the boo bird started to come out during this one, but I understand it from with a fighter standpoint.
Yeah, I think it was the fourth round. It wasn't really action-packed. It was pretty much the whole fight. The whole round was on the ground, similar to the second round. But yeah, I think Pantoja has like the best second wind ever. Like he's somebody who he pushes a hard pace. He throws with all 100% intensity. He works hard to pass. He works hard to dominate from whatever position he's in on the ground. So he's also a big dude. Like he's small, but he's pretty well put together. He's not like the most jacked flyweight, but he's in pretty good shape. So he's a grinder, and that's going to take a lot out of you. And I thought it was kind of crazy. Joe in DC kept saying how he doesn't want to strike with Royval, but he kept clipping Royval. He like wobbled him 2 times that I remember.
Yeah.
Very briefly, but like they kept saying he doesn't want to strike with him, and I was because he kept looking for the wrestling, and he got tired. And I don't know what they were. It was another bad night for Rogan in DC. I think,
dude, Rogan was so unbearable.
So bad. Yeah. And anytime him and DC are together, they're just like two pals. Listen, if Rogan just did a fight companion, I think he has like the perfect commentator for a fight companion. That's like kind of what he is now. That's the stage of as a commentator, the stage of his career that he's in. I think he's just not that good anymore. Like I haven't really like anytime he's on a call, like I just keep noticing he just sucks. Like
he's like,
I don't know.
He gets like a thing in his head, and he becomes like so biased on one side, whatever it is, and you're like, dude, like I think you tweeted about it at one point. You were like, I think it was probably about this fight where he's just like, why is he acting like Pantoja's getting smoked on the feet or something like that? It's like, it's not that like it's really not that far off. You're just, I don't know. I just there's so many times during these things where I'm just like, bro, what is he talking about? When it never used to be like that.
Yeah, never. They just want to be the first to see to let the world know that somebody's hurt or somebody's in a submission or somebody got rocked or something hurt somebody or there's an armbar possibly. Every time they just rush. And like Rogan has been doing MMA his whole life. DC has been doing everything, wrestling, MMA his whole life. Like, yeah, who am I to tell them? But it's just crazy that they rush in to try to call something so they can be the first one to see it, the first one to call it, the first one to see it. Yeah, I hate it. I hate that kind of. I hate them two together forever. I want to see Anik, Cruz, and Paul Felder, or Laura Sanko. I think she's great too.
Yeah, I love the Felder Cruz dynamic on the calls. It's more of like a hard, like for us, it's like we're the hardos of the fan base, kind of. And there's a lot of people like us out there who just kind of enjoy their analysis, and even they're funny too. So it's like they don't. It's not just like strictly, fight info and stuff like that. But I just don't like Rogan comes in his pants when somebody's leg starts swelling. Like he starts losing his mind. Is like it's the only thing he can think. Oh, he's chewing that leg up. Look at that welt. And you're like, hey, Joe, they're fighting, man. Like
yeah.
They're throwing leg kicks. Like I don't know. Maybe I sound like a hater, but
for the whole Aldana Hossa fight, the only thing they kept saying is how Hossa's just beating up the legs, which he was. But Aldana was walking through it. Like
Yeah.
she wasn't noticeably. She didn't pull Adrian Yanez where he like it's affecting him and he can't fight and now he's done when he fought the leg kicker, not Gutierrez but the other one, Jonathan Martinez.
Yeah.
Like that effect. Those leg kicks made him pretty much nothing. They shut his offense down. Irene Aldana was landing up top whenever she wanted to. Carol Hosta was landing to the legs whenever she wanted to. That was the difference. But they they were only talking about it because early on, at least, Irene Aldana, because she's so pale, her legs got beat up and very visibly too.
Yeah.
And that they just kept talking about them. Like, yo, guys, what about Carol Hosta's eye that's about to shut? Next round's completely fucking shut. So, yeah, I just, I can go on and on about them too. But I will say that I thought Royval had a pretty decent game plan. I just think his all-around game is not championship level.
Yeah.
I've always thought that. I think he has heart. I think he has a terrible haircut. I think he needs to, clean that up. But the cardio he has is amazing. Yeah. I think his boxing is crisp. I don't think it's that. I think he could, I wish he would go forward more with his offense, with his striking. I think he could, he has good kicks. He has really good knees. Dude, he just missed landing a couple step-in high knees to Pantoja when Pantoja was trying to dip down for a takedown like he did to Mateus Nicolau when he knocked him out.
And it just seemed like he just ate it, which was nuts.
Yeah. Pantoja has a good chin, man. Pantoja is, I think, honestly, one of the more underrated fighters in the game. Honestly, I used to think that about Figgy and Moreno. I think flyweights just kind of get ignored, I guess, because they're smaller. There's not as many finishes and whatnot, but they are so technical, so technically sound, so fun, and honestly, they have some of the best cardio too. So, I thought it was a decent fight. It wasn't anything terrible, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was a pretty good fight. I don't think it deserved to get booed, but I understand certain points. I think Pantoja's corner was even telling him to rest, which people don't like to hear, but they're not fucking robots. They have to rest. They're going balls to the wall. For 25 minutes. 8 of 14 takedowns. Obviously, Royval has to work on that takedown defense. He didn't really do much from his back because he couldn't really, he didn't have any leverage or any kind of room to go for a submission off his back, but he does like to do those. Just people that do that, man, you notice a trend that they don't advance to the highest levels. Mackenzie Dern, she doesn't even give up takedowns like that, but she just can't get them. But who's my boy from Spain, Joel Alvarez? He has like a 0% takedown defense. Like that's not going to get you anywhere, bro. He fought Arman Sarukian battered his fucking face. So just trying to play off your back is really not something that works at a high level in the UFC. So
it's hard to do in that championship level, man. You're right. It's something it's very glaring when you watch these fights. It's you don't see dudes getting triangled or armbarred. You see that in the prelims. You don't see that the higher up you go on the fight cards. But how about Shavkat, man? Made it look somewhat easy against Wonderboy. Wonderboy did a good job early on, I think, of keeping it standing and defending the takedown. He just made a mistake towards the end of that second round. And once Shavkat gets you to the ground, especially a guy like Wonderboy, he just ran out of time too. You only have 4 seconds left to get to the third round, and maybe he's able to survive. I don't think he's going to win this fight, but Shavkat again gets it done. He's 18-0 now. I think every fight he's got 8 TKOs, 10 submissions. He's walked through everyone. That's Wonderboy, Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, 3 in a row right there. Ty, I mean, by July of next year, he should be fighting for the title. If it's maybe it's one more fight. I don't know if it's kind of like elementary at this point. Either way, he should be next. If it's not Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, he should be next. I think a lot of people are scared to fight this guy.
Yeah,
and I think there's as he fights the better, he fights better opponents. I think you will start to see cracks in his armor. Like I think he is a headhunter. I would love to see him throw more kicks, especially low kicks, because he's so dynamic. But he is a bit of a headhunter, and I think I don't know. It's gonna be hard to stop him on the ground. He's so relentless, so strong, and smart, and well-rounded all around on the ground. And once he gets your back, you're pretty much fucked. I think he's a dangerous out for anybody. You're really gonna have to just stand there and honestly hurt him. You're gonna have to bring the fight to him and maybe do what he does best and try to do it to him to really beat him. yeah, I don't know who beats him. I think he has to probably get one more. I'm not sure who it would be against or whatnot. I would love to see in an ideal world, like catch weight, him against Chimaev to see what would actually happen in that fight. Maybe we can get that, sometime down the road. But Chimaev's probably at 185. So, yeah, I would love to see him fight for the belt, and I think he might. If something happens to Bilal or maybe Leon or who knows, he could step in or something could happen. But yeah, not much more to really say. I mean, he's got all finishes in every fight. He's perfect. He's been cracked. He's took some shots from Jeff Neal, right? It was his last fight. Was it who did he fight? Was it Jeff Neal before this Wonder Boy fight?
Yes. And then before that, it was Neil Magny.
Before that was Neil Magny. That fight wasn't it took a little bit to materialize, but he gets the finish, man. Like, he's not just first round or bust.
Yeah, he's patient. He's very patient.
So,
no, he's awesome, man. Really, there's very rare do you see a guy come up where you don't get to see those holes in the game. Like, I think the only guy who looked good, I think, was Jeff Neal against him. Like, I think Jeff Neal had some success, like you said. Like, he was able to make him miss a few times because he is a little bit of a headhunter. But the second these things start going to the ground or the grappling exchanges are involved, or if he even really just lands on you, like, he's a powerful guy, and he's cutting the cage off on the Wonder Boy very well. He's a tough guy. I do wish, I'm with you on that Hamzat was still at 170 and we could do that at one point, but I don't see that happening. I mean, they've taken him out of the 70 rankings, and he's, I think, 8 or 9 at 85. So it seems like that dream is over for now, but maybe one day we'll have them meet at 85 for the title or something like that. One can only dream.
Double champ, baby.
I'm trying to promote all sorts of double champs today, if I can.
We almost had a triple champ in KSW. We can talk about that later briefly. We did. I'm serious. One of the better non-UFC fighters. Two of the better non-UFC welterweights in the world, even though they're not both welterweights, but two of the better non-UFC fighters in the world fought in the main event at KSW over the weekend. So,
all right, there's a little bit of a teaser there for the end, but Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson, unanimous decision for Paddy Pimblett. Paddy was kind of right in the sense that this was going to be a lose-lose for him, especially if he was going to come out and fight the way that he did. He had some success in the wrestling department, but he looked tired at the end of this fight, dude. Like, that third round, I was like, oh my God, is Tony going to start putting it on him? But Tony's just, Tony's completely, was his wrestling always this bad? It doesn't feel like it was. I think it's just the fact that he doesn't train
Maybe
anymore.
he just
he doesn't train anymore.
Yeah. I don't think he does train anymore, right? He's not. Is Eddie Bravo ever with him anymore recently? I feel like he hasn't been with him in a while.
Chael Sonnen said he talked to his dad, so take this for literally a grain of sand, because I heard this on the broadcast, but he was saying that, Tony doesn't have, a head coach anymore, which makes sense if David Goggins is in his corner, but, he doesn't train at a gym anymore, he doesn't, do any of that shit, so it's it's over, dude. I want him to retire so badly. I really do, because he was such a fun, exciting guy. He was 25-3, Ty. He was at the top of this game, and that was only 2-3 years ago. And now it is just all red on his thing, and he's
so much red.
Not going to get an easy fight. I wish they would give him an easy fight, but I mean, Bobby Green was supposed to be an easier fight, and he couldn't.
Fucking dog.
He couldn't have success there, and the only fight he had somewhat success in is the Michael Chandler fight, and that how you saw how that ended. He got his head punted into the 15th row, so it's over for him. But I more want to focus on Paddy Pimblett because, I mean, Ty, were you impressed at all?
Early on, I was the first round. I thought also the first round was a 10-8 possibility. No,
yeah, I think so.
Am I crazy for thinking that?
No,
because he didn't get one, so I thought I was all right. Well, I thought maybe he did enough to get it, but instead I saw a couple other people did, and not one judge gave him 10-8. But what are you going to do there? I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, early he looked good, and then after that he looked really tired. There's points where they were like, yeah, Paddy's gassing, he's breathing with his mouth open. I'm like, Rogan and DC are just talking shit. And then I look at him and he's moving backwards and he doesn't look, Paddy's gassed. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? That's crazy. I don't think his striking, it's hard to explain. It's hard to describe how his boxing, striking in general, like how it is and how it looks. It doesn't look. It looks wonky. It looks kind of funky, unorthodox, which isn't bad, but it looks like, I don't like how he keeps his chin high in the air and kind of out there and kind of doesn't bring his hands back and up to protect his chin. I think he's very hittable. I think his offensive boxing, offensive striking is very simple. I don't think he really puts that many combos together. I think he kind of just throws hooks. He got his nose busted open. I don't know what that was from. If it was from one of those elbows from the ground that Tony threw, but he started leaking. Yeah. Tony told me he's gonna make him taste his own blood. So at least Tony can still do that, right?
For sure.
He has that ability to create small cracks of an opening, but he just doesn't capitalize, and he also just throws the fight away. He's just cooked. He's just absolutely cooked and done. And there's no reason for him to be fighting ever again. I mean, unless you want to put him in there with like Austin Hubbard or Natan Levy or Trevor Peek. Put him in there with Trevor Peek. I guarantee he might get knocked the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, put him in there with Roosevelt Roberts. He might get tapped out. I think he's just at a point in his career where he is really just done. Like, does he beat Genaro Valdez? What do you think?
The fact that I'm even sitting here going, well, like
Sam Patterson. Does he beat Sam?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
the future or whatever his fucking name is. That guy's 7 foot tall. He should not be 155 pounds.
Yeah. Or Yanal Ashmaj, the Israeli guy.
That guy would probably kill him.
Brendan Marat.
He would kill him.
Think of the word. That's where we're at, though. Like, Alex Reyes, Dominic Reyes' brother.
He'd kill him too. He'd kill him too.
Anshel Jubilee. I think Anshel Jubilee might put Tony Ferguson to sleep.
Jubilee would give him a great 7 minutes, and then after that, it would just be rough.
Hey, that's my motto, So, what do we do here? Do we? The sad part is, I think if the UFC just parts ways with him, which they should do,
he's going to fight
Tony Ferguson, Kenny Payne, Brandon Staley. Those 3 people should be out of a job. Brandon Staley already is.
Yeah.
Kenny Payne is not. Tony Ferguson should be next. He should be on the chopping block. But my concern is he's going to go to like karate combat. Shout out to Sam Alvey. 3 wins in a row, baby. Or like, bare knuckle MMA. Bare knuckle MMA. Man. That's exactly what he would do. He would go to bare knuckle MMA, Game Bread, whatever the fuck, Game Bread FC or something, and he would get battered or something. So. But whatever. At least he'll be out of the UFC and out of Dana's hands. Dana now, I think, is finally admitting, like, all right, it's time.
I mean, he's probably been like telling this to him for a long time. He's just like, all right, like now, like if you ask him, he can't lie to you and say, oh yeah, I like to, like obviously everyone with eyes would like to see him retire and walk away. The sad thing is he's probably not going to, and I think for me the thing I get mad at is that he just doesn't have he doesn't train. Like mixed martial arts. Like, you doing Hell Week doesn't equal to, being a great fighter. Guys who do triathlons can't just get in the cage and fight. I know you used to be, like you used to train all the time and you're still, you hone your skill, whatever, dude. But if you're not like sparring and you're not in the gym wrestling and grappling with all these guys, like these guys at American Top Team or, fucking the American Kickboxing Academy, all these different places, if you're not training like those guys are training, then you're going to get smoked. And that's why a guy like Paddy Pimblett is having success against you. So,
I want to believe in Paddy. I think he has some kind of ability. Like, I think he has a good mix of talent. I don't think he like has a bad fight IQ. I think he has I don't see that many red flags. The weight issue is definitely one, but I don't know if he's still ballooning up to like 180 or 190 after his fights. I guess we'll have to pay attention if we see him get fat again. That's definitely a red flag. Other than that, I'm keeping the chin up. I don't like. I just think there's some mechanical, structural things with his game that he needs to work on. Maybe his camp's not great. Maybe he doesn't have a great boxing coach or whatnot. I know we have seen in MMA and boxing and fighting in general a lot of the UK guys kind of plateau at a certain point, right? Kind of Bisping was kind of there too, but then he pushed through late. Shout out to Luke Rockhold's chin. And was able to, get a belt at an old age too.
And he was training in California too. Like he went to train with Jason.
He mixed it up.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, Darren Till and whatnot, and he's even
Leon's doing
had to
good.
bounce around. Who?
Leon.
Ah, there you go. But
is he the best UK fighter ever? Is that a
Leon
conversation?
Edwards?
Yeah, definitely up there, right?
Yeah, I think he's definitely up there. I mean, one or two more of these wins, and I don't like. What can you can't take it away from him? Like Bisping was the guy, right? You would say,
Yeah.
and he's had such a storied career, and he won the title like kind of in a dramatic fashion and all that. But when all is said and done, it probably will be Leon Edwards. He'll have the better resume and the better wins against on his record than especially while he was the champion than what Bisping was able to put out there with the Rock.
Real
100-year-old Dan Henderson.
Real quick here.
Sure.
Who do you think Paddy? So you look at the top 15. I don't think Paddy beats anybody that's ranked at 155. Does he beat? I'm on a different website here, but does he beat Grant Dawson, Bobby Green, Joel Alvarez, Thiago Moises? Is this Renato Moicano? Renato Carnero.
Moicano.
Okay. I guess he has multiple last names. I know most of them do. Elvis Brenner, Guram.
Wow.
I think Paddy right now on this website, he's 24th, right above Jared Gordon, which is very fitting. But do you want to pair him up with Jalen Turner, Drew Dober,
No.
Matt Frivola, Benoit Saint-Denis? I think they all smoke.
Oh my God, Benoit
Paddy,
would
Paddy.
fucking kill him, dude.
Yeah,
Benoit would
then,
have his way with him. They'd have to come into the cage and pull pull him off his dead carcass.
Good thing the Ilya Taporia fight never happened because he would have done disgustingly illegal things to Paddy Pimblett. One of them's fighting for a belt, and one of them's fighting Tony Ferguson, just to show you where they are at this point in their career. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have on that fight. We'll see what Paddy does next. I'm sure he might get a ranked opponent. I think that there's no more slow playing him. I mean, you have to give him at least number 15 or 14. You have to try to get a number next to Paddy, and then see what you can do from there. Try to match make. Smarter,
Green.
but either way, you got to. Bobby Green would be good. One's old, one's young, one throws hands. I think Bobby Green's beatable, but he's also tough to beat, right? But
if you were to cherry pick
really
though here, Ty, would you do Dan Hooker and kind of just be like, listen, he's got a 9 next to his name, but I mean, I would still. I would
similar to Tony Ferguson fight.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know,
but I would take Hooker. I think
I probably would too because it's just he's more durable and. I would love to see a 5-round fight. Like that would be sick. Dan Hooker's a fun guy to watch. He's not, what's it called? You can't trust him. Not trustworthy, but he's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, anybody they can't just keep putting him against these kind of guys though. It needs to be a step up in competition because I'm losing interest in Paddy Pimblett. How about now? We were wrong about this one. Josh Emmett with an absolute Ty, in all of my years of watching this sport, this might be one of the nastiest knockouts I've ever seen. And it wasn't just like the head kick ones, they're all crazy, but this one was just pure just vitriolic power from that right hand that just sounded like a baseball bat hitting Bryce Mitchell's chin. And it just shut his lights off immediately. You had DC freaking out that he was having a seizure. Oh my God, he's seasoned. He's seasoned, Joe. He's seasoned. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, why are and I'm watching people like, oh my God, what's going? Yeah. You shouldn't be showing a guy listen. I love the sport. I love the violence of it. You can't be showing this guy having a seizure after he gets knocked out.
That was nuts.
Let's just avert the camera into another direction. But.
That was nuts.
At the end of the day, it doesn't. I love how Josh Emmett said, "Yeah, it's difficult to celebrate after that." When he screamed in the guy's face and then walked to the other side of the cage and did a backflip. I'm like,
it wasn't that hard to celebrate.
I would just be like, "Hey, man, listen, I hope he's all right." But that shit was sick. Never felt that in my right hand before. But yo, man, good for Josh Emmett.
Yeah. That was scary. It took a little bit, right? It was like 2 minutes of nothing, right? Nothing really happened until that. It was kind of like, was it Josh Emmett and Michael Johnson in Philly?
That was the slow one. Yeah, it was like, that was in the 3rd round.
Right. But it was like kind of boring, boring. Boom! And then he just went to sleep. And you're like, oh. This was kind of like the same way, except there was only 2 minutes. But Bryce Mitchell, 0-3. Josh Emmett, 2-10. So besides the one, doomsday right he landed, he didn't really do anything else. So it was kind of just, circling around. I don't know what Bryce Mitchell was trying to do. He didn't even go for a takedown.
No.
He should have. He definitely should have. I think going forward, he's gonna be a tough guy to bet and rely on because he's not very smart. And I mean, taking a shot like that can only be career altering in a bad way,
100%.
right? It's not like you can take some time off. He definitely needs to take a lot of time off because he started seizing. I don't know, maybe unless he wasn't actually having a seizure and he was just like, what kind of technical term or medical term that you can, I don't know, but it wasn't good. He was shaking. And then he stood up. He couldn't stand up straight for probably hours. I know Rogan and DC
Rogan was
were going
also
crazy,
pissing me off.
Get him
with
a
this,
stool.
Dude. Yeah, like, dude, shut up.
I was like,
bro.
guys, calm down. He's standing up. He probably doesn't want a stool. They don't want to give him a stool. Like it was like when Trevor Lawrence, when he got hurt, and he was like limping his way back to the locker room. Everyone's like, why doesn't he have a cart? What the fuck? The NFL? How don't the Jaguars have a cart? And meanwhile, he didn't want a cart. He wanted to walk back and kind of test out what he could walk on his ankle, how much power he could. Strength he could put on his ankle. He's the one who denied the card. So maybe Bryce Mitchell didn't want a stool. I wouldn't want a stool. I'd be like, yo, get me the fuck out of here. I'm trying to get out of here.
Yeah, the guy had no idea where he was.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, he could turn his ankle. I'm like, yeah, turn his ankle. That's the least of his worries after he just got detonated by fucking Oppenheimer to the fucking jaw. All right. So let's calm down here about a fucking stool. So that was annoying, but yeah, I feel bad for Bryce. I definitely think he needs to take some time off. I feel like he needs to, I don't know. I don't know if the high level is necessarily a place for him going forward.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me was, like, what was the game plan here? Like, I think he made mention of, like, how he wanted to stay on the outside or something. Like, that's not you, dude. And he said, like, that's the one thing he's mad at himself because he wasn't aggressive and wasn't, like, trying to, like, push the pace on him, which it's, like, kind of similar to, like, Colby Covington's lucky this didn't happen to him because when you can only fight one way if you're Bryce Mitchell, and that is just relentless wrestling, takedowns, and just trying to smash a guy on the ground. Now, you might get knocked out while doing that, but that's the only way you can win. You cannot stand on the outside with any of these guys because it's not your game. You've never really trained to be that type of fighter. And Bryce kind of was just circling on the outside. He never really... Did he ever shoot, like, a takedown? Did he? I mean, or...
No.
Like, he just never... He didn't really do much. He didn't do anything. I don't understand what the game plan was. So it just... he took this fight on late notice. It probably, obviously, wasn't a good idea. Ended up having a seizure. And, tough one for Thug. What was his name? Thug Nasty? Isn't that what he calls himself? Yeah. Maybe he'll have time to drop another album now while he's... on the mend, because I'm with you. I don't want to see him fight till at least the summer. He needs to take some serious time off and just let his brain recuperate. But Alonzo Menafield wins a unanimous decision over Dustin Jacoby. I was kind of in and out of paying attention to this fight, but I thought that Dustin Jacoby was doing much better than a unanimous decision. But I think he got cracked a few. Like, I think it was kind of a situation where maybe the numbers support a Dustin Jacoby win, but then when you go and look and you're like, oh yeah, but he got wobbled, rocked, and knocked down a few times. It's like that kind of just outdoes anything that maybe Dustin Jacoby did.
Yeah, I think Dustin won the first round, but he lost the second and third, even though they were close. But I still think that's that's how you score.
That's how you're supposed to score
a fight.
Yeah.
I guess if it was pride scoring, I guess Jacoby wins. Maybe I don't even know if he wins pride scoring, but. Yeah, I actually had a tough time scoring it live because it was just, kind of sandwiched in between a couple fights. I wasn't paying attention 100%. I was dialed in, but not fully enough to score. I kind of was playing around my phone and whatnot, inhaling some Delta 8s, if you will. Better than Delta 8s. Those shits are trash. Those shits are trash.
They
but,
are.
per my lawyer. So I wasn't really scoring it, and I kind of was I thought they might be split judge-wise. I thought maybe somebody was going to give a round 2 or give 2 rounds to Jacoby or something like that. But it wasn't honestly that bad. I think they all had it 2 and 3 to Alonzo. And honestly, Alonzo, I thought was getting beat up pretty early in that first round. I wasn't sure how he was going to last. I didn't know if he was going to cardio dump before Dustin, but Dustin's getting older, man. He's a big dude too. So also, I guess his nickname is the Haniac. I'm not sure what that means.
Don't know what that means either.
Not a fan. Atomic Alonzo is definitely better. So, and then the knockdown in the third, I think, just solidified.
Yeah.
I also got the takedown too. So, I think that got him got him the fight. So yeah, good. It was a good fight. Honestly, it was just after one of the best fights of the year and before one of the best knockouts of the year. It was kind of sandwiched in between two amazing fights in their own way. So I guess it kind of got ignored or just not as viewed as much. But it was. Listen, those big boys were throwing. That's for sure.
Yeah, and with a nice segue there, Irina Aldana and Carol Carol, as they were saying on the broadcast, that was pissing me off as well. I guess her name is Carol. I think the Brazilians they use they have our English names, some of them, and they just try to give a little flair to it. Carol. I don't know. That looks like Carol to me, but it's just Carol. So Carol Hossa, she took a beating in this fight. She distributed a lot of leg kicks and a lot of. Irina Aldana has no idea how to check a leg kick. I saw you tweet that at one point.
Or she just doesn't want to.
Check a goddamn leg kick, man. Yeah, I guess, or she just doesn't want to. She was just walking forward, and she started to the first round. She was getting kind of beat up. Her leg was getting beat up. That inside of the leg was getting beat up pretty bad.
Brutal.
And then she just kind of realized dude, I can't stand on the outside like I like to. I'm gonna just get in. And she went on the inside, and she started going to fucking work, man. And body work to the head. I mean, closing her her left eye. Busting her nose up. I mean, they both got fucked up in this fight. It was, I'm not I'm underselling it. You guys can go on ESPN Plus if you missed this. I implore you to watch this fight because we might be doing a little award show soon, and this might win fight of the year. It really might. I know it's kind of it's hard to the recency bias or whatnot, but I'm not kidding. This fight was incredible, and it's easily the best women's fight of the year. And it's up there for one of the best women's fights I've ever seen.
Yeah, that might be that's Joanna.
Whaley.
Who was it? Was it Joanna Whaley? Yeah. That's up there because you remember Joanna had the huge, absolute speed bump emerging from her forehead. Yeah. In this fight, if you see them both, they were both in the hospital, I think, together, taking a picture, and both their faces were just absolutely chewed up. But shout out to Renee, man. She pulled through. I was just waiting for her leg to give out, but she kept walking forward.
Yeah.
She kept throwing that left hook. The jab was really powerful and stinging Carol Hossa. That's why it busted up her nose right away, and then her eye. I think the jab and just some of the hooks, the counters that she was landing, were really doing damage. Let's see how many leg strikes. She was 95 of 102 to the leg. Carol Hossa was. That's some insane volume. I don't think Colby Covington didn't even land 90 total strikes, even close to 90 total strikes. So, and meanwhile, Renee Aldana 3 or 4 to the leg. So she did, she said, "Fuck that! I'm headhunting." She was 122 of 276 to the head, 20 of 28 to the body. So, yeah, she was 84% to the head. Meanwhile, Carol Hossa was 50% to the head, 46 to the leg. So, very different strategies, and leg strikes definitely matter, but if you're getting chewed up, if your one eye is getting closed up and your nose is bleeding, and this is happening, you're not going to win the fight. You're not going to win the fight. The most damaging strikes, were the headshots. That's not always the case, right? Remember Robbie Lawler got his leg chewed up bad. Like anytime he got kicked, his leg was swinging to the top, pretty much vertical with his head or horizontal with his head, I guess. Yeah. When he fought, fuck was his name? Not Musasi. What the fuck was his name in Strikeforce? I think. I can't remember.
This thing has
not King Mo
right now.
It does. It was Melvin Manhoef, the guy who used to put everybody out, and then he started getting put out. Manhoef was kicking the inside of his leg bad, just literally swinging like a pendulum. And then he caught Melvin Manhoef coming in and put him to sleep with the left hand. Melvin Manhoef's eyes were just open, or rolled. They were open, but it rolled back to the back of his head. That was one of the scariest things ever. But that wasn't happening to Aldana. She was just walking through it, which I couldn't believe it. Even in the third round, I'm like, yo, how is she eating this? I know she has Mexican spirit, the heart of a fucking warrior, an absolute sell. You can't kill a Renee Aldana. She's just like all those Mexican fighters, Moreno, Alexa Grasso. You have to really put a fucking bullet through them.
Yeah, here.
And even that might not work. So that was an absolute war. blood and guts affair. Shout out to Carol Hosta. Shout out to Renee Aldana. I believe they got fight of the night, right?
Yeah.
It'd be tragic if they did not.
It would
But
be an absolute robbery.
But
Hosta was getting hurt to the body too. You could see she was given like real visual. Like
I thought we were getting our
hurt.
TKO, man. I thought we were getting
dude. We were so close to it. It just didn't hit. What are
you gonna do?
It was right there, man. And we had a couple really close, like good, like Pantoja sub was like right there, and it just
close.
Couldn't get it. Could have been a big night, but it just it's all right. It's just an okay night. I'll take that. Cody Garbrandt, no love, back in the building. Took Brian Kelleher out. Shut him off, ended him up face down. Did not throw any follow-up shots. Cody G loves the walk-off KO, and he was able to get it. He looked so fast. He looked healthy. His chin looked like it was holding up a little bit. He wanted. You saw at one point he got hit, and he just wanted to just go war mode, and he didn't. He was able to hone it in a little bit. And Cody G needed this win because if he lost to Brian Kelleher, then he needed to be cut.
Yeah, for sure. So, made quick work of him, honestly. I was kind of surprised by that, but Cody first-round knockout. Should have been the play. Should have been the play here, man.
I know.
But, what are you going to do?
I'll take the TKO. It's all good. Ariane Lipski with a armbar over Casey O'Neill. I am officially out on Casey O'Neill. I don't want anything to do with her. I think, with all due respect, I think she stinks. And I just don't. She doesn't have like a thing that she does well. Like she's somewhat okay of a grappler, but she can't strike. She doesn't really have any striking defense. She doesn't move well, and she was getting chipped up early on in this fight. And I think she was able to get a takedown. That's kind of how this armbar situation happened. She just, I don't know. She looks lost in a lot of these exchanges, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's lacking some training. Where was she at Extreme Couture? So I don't know if that's the problem because we've seen how many guys have come out of there. I don't know. What do you think her game is missing?
I think that torn ACL that happened to her a year or two ago, I think that's really slowed down her movement. I think that was a big part of her game. I think she's honestly just kind of plateaued. I don't think she's that dynamic of a wrestler, a grappler. I think she's honestly not. She's average. She's better offensively than defensively. I don't think she's very strong. I think she's pretty big, right? She's 5'6", pretty tall, but 69-inch reach too. But she doesn't seem that strong. No. Ariane Lipski dominated her. I just don't. I think she's missing a lot of her game. I think she's definitely missing a go-to. I don't know what her go-to is: the clinch, the wrestling, the grappling, the kickboxing, the range striking, the inside striking, the counter striking. Nothing. She doesn't really have any of those. So I don't really know what her game is really going to rely on. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Melissa Gatto, where she doesn't. She's kind of good at. She's kind of solid at everything, but she's not even really above average at anything. So that's really going to hold her back. I don't know where she goes from here. She trains with a bunch of people. She posted on Instagram that she felt amazing, better than she's ever had. She had one of the best camps she's ever had. She felt good. Everything felt great, and it didn't work. So, a loss like that, when you really think you're 100% healthy, you're 100% mentally there, you're 100% physically there, and you feel like you're at the best point of your career, and you go out there and kind of just get steamrolled. Yeah, probably it's very taxing. It's probably going to take a lot out of her, So I'm sure she'll get back in the cage, get back in the training camp, in the training gym, and work. I'm sure she'll get a layup too. Her next fight will be much easier.
Yeah,
but even then, man, I don't know. You never know.
It's not a lot of. It's the UFC, man. I know there are some layups out there, but there's not a lot of them.
She's still young. I think she's 26, 27, so she's got time for sure. But I just think she needs a lot to add to her game.
How about Lipski, man? She did look good though. It seems like
Lipski 3-fight winning streak.
Yeah, her game has kind of evolved, and she's just more of a savage. I don't know. It seems like the best way to do it. She's there. The queen of violence is back to just distributing violence on people, and I can't wait to see what they do with her next. Because she probably will get somebody ranked, maybe, because she's.
She should put me in an armbar. Is what she should do. I think
she's not ranked, right? I'm not. Of now. No, you're not. No, I know that.
I'm not. No, I was, but my ACL started acting up.
Yeah, I got you, man. It happens.
Remember? I know you remember. I was winning that championship, and the fight had to be called off.
Yes,
so.
yes. That was a while ago, though. So maybe things have changed since then. You know what hasn't changed is Tagir Ulanbekov's ability to find that submission at all times. He gets a rear naked choke against Cody Durden. Kind of just this fight in the beginning was a little bit not slower, but just ended up on the feet, and it was kind of like a striking exchange.
Knocked him down early.
Yeah, that was wild. He cracked him bad, and Cody was having some success early on before the knockdown with his hands, but Tagir's just he's much longer and bigger than him, and eventually I think towards the end of the first round he took him down. He realized, oh, I can have my way with him on the ground, and then started the second round he took him right down, and then it was just took a little bit of time, but he eventually got that.
Yeah, that was nasty. He had a crank working for a good part of that fight. He was cranking on that chin, and it looked good. Cody was in some distress for sure. And then, end of the second round, he just cinched it in. And yeah, Cody's been subbed before, man. This was definitely a spot I felt good about with Tagir. So shout out to him, man. I mean, I think he's kind of underrated at flyweight, right? That Tim Elliott loss kind of set him back a little bit, and that wasn't even that bad of a loss. Also, he was there. He was very competitive in that fight. 2 in a row. The Nate Maness sub was nasty, standing guillotine.
Yep.
And his 2 wins before that, Bruno Silva, Alan Nascimento, they weren't that great. So to have 2, he was outstruck in both of them. He was taken down by Bruno Silva a couple times. Nascimento even outstruck him, which kind of a red flag. He got reversed a couple times. So, to have 2 finishes in a row, especially, Cody Durden, I believe, had a number next to his name, right? So that's huge. That's huge for Tagir. He's a little older now, but I think he's not older. He's just a couple. Was he 32? He's right in his 30s. So I think he's honestly, right in the peak, right in his physical prime, I guess you could say. So yeah, now's the time for him to make a move, and I think he's dangerous, man. He could sub anybody.
Yeah, and it's just that those long arms, man. He's a master of the choke. He can just pull chokes off from any angle, anywhere. And Cody Durden did a good job of defend. Like he was in a bad position for a while. He was up in the air. He had him backpacked up against the fence. He did everything he could. These guys were, Tagir kept breaking the rules with his toes in the fence over and over and over again.
Chris Tognoni didn't know what to...
They didn't know what to do. I mean, these guys don't speak English, so they need kind of a translator to be no toes in the cage. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious when your foot's getting slapped out of the cage that what's going on there, but... I mean, they're in a fight, so, again, I would keep doing it until somebody absolutely made me. There was another fight at some point later on that kept happening. But how about Andre Feely? Touchy-feely, man, with the elimination of Lucas Almeida with that little short right hook. Lucas Almeida, I don't know what I was thinking, really, because he looked bad from the very beginning of this. It's one of them things where the fight starts and you're like, okay, yep, on the wrong side of this one. Because he looked stiff. He looked tall. That tall man defense that we talked about, he does it. But Andre Feely at least moves his head and is, explosive in his movements. Lucas Almeida was just stiff, plodding, and wasn't able to get out of range, especially if he's fighting a guy that actually can get to him. And, I mean, he was right there for the taking on that right hook. And it was just bad news bears after that. He got kind of just dropped on his ass, and then the ground strikes to follow. Another easy win for Andre Feely.
Did we have this?
I think you might have. I definitely didn't. I had Almeida. I don't have the card right in front of me. I
don't know if I had Feely by TKO or inside the distance. I wish I did, but I feel like that was kind of...
I think you might have.
Okay, I hope I did. If I didn't, you should give it to me. No, I'm just kidding. But, we saw... I don't... when Trezano rocked him, I think we were like, all right, Trezano is not a knockout guy. He's not a power guy. He's not a knockdown guy. So if that's happening, it's a little worrisome. And obviously, he's very dangerous and wild in there in the pocket. Andre Feely, nasty right hand. Also, if you saw my Instagram story, Andre Feely doesn't like many things in life. He likes training, fighting, loves big booty Latinas, and I'm right there with him. Shout out to Andre Touchy Feely. Just honestly, we keep talking about underrated fighters. He's been one of the more underrated UFC guys. If you look at his UFC stats page, you'll see a long, long list of a lot of fights with a lot of tough opponents. I'm trying to find a layup. And I guess Shaman Moraes might be the biggest layup. Maybe Miles Jury, and Miles Jury at that time was pretty solid, I think. So even Artem Lobov back in the day. Lobov had some hype behind him around that time. So like he fought, like I said, he fought Max Holloway in his second career fight in the UFC when he was like 20. Like so, that was on the Jones Teixeira undercard. So the fact that he's still doing this to this day, and I think he's in his mid 30s. He's in his physical peak, right? And I think he presents a lot of opportunities, a lot of mismatches for other for fights at 145 with a lot of these shorter guys. So. Good knockout for him.
He's one of them guys you could see him bursting into the top 15 at some point, and making a little bit of a run. Like, I'm waiting.
He needs a little bit of luck,
yeah,
and matchmaking help, because he hasn't really had matches. Like match him up with somebody like Lucas Almeida. I think that was perfect, right?
Yeah,
bounce back from that Algeo fight, or Nathaniel Wood. Maybe you run it back with Nathaniel Wood, right? Nathaniel Wood's kind of been on a losing streak. He hasn't looked as great. Maybe you run it back with Daniel Pineda. So. Yeah, I don't know.
You can do anything with him.
Almost choked there, but no, I don't know. Yeah, that was almost bad news. So, either way, I'm a big fan.
So, Shamil Gaziev took care of Martin Buday pretty easily.
Yes, sir.
This fight was one-sided from the very beginning.
This shit was over from...
I wish I would have had a Max Nuclear Mega Whale play on this one, because... right away, you just could tell Buday was getting hit and was not responding well to it at all.
Yeah, he was just covering up.
This Gaziev guy is tough, man. He really is. And I think the opportunity to fade him will present itself at some point. But these likely. First couple ones, it's not going to be the time. So it's like, let's cash him.
You know who he reminds me of? He's very reminiscent of Sergey Pavlovich, except a little different. But I think they have similar builds, 6'4", 6'3", very long arms. He's a 78-inch reach. Not as long as Pavlovich, but 78 is very long. And I think Pavlovich is more Sergey wasn't even a one-hitter quitter guy. He was a one-hitter, and then, you wanted to look for a way out, but you weren't going to sleep. I think Gaziev's very similar. I think he has that one-hitter quitter ability, but he's more of a pour it on you. He's going to hit you with one shot, and then after that, you're going to cover up like Buday did, and that's going to be it. So I like his knees. I think he has some pretty good knees, some elbows too. He gets real nasty in there, man. He gets real nasty, especially when he takes you down. I think he has some pretty good trips. His ability to get to the ground and to dish out some ground and pound is really really good. So I like that combination. I don't know, I think he's probably going to run into somebody that hits him hard, and maybe he doesn't respond well, or his cardio might get exposed. I think that could be a thing, right? He's knocked out pretty much everybody he's fought and finished everybody. So that could happen, but he does at least have one decision on his resume, and it is against I think, previously undefeated fellow. So I don't know. I like Gaziev. I think he could go far, and if he gets the right matchmaking, he's definitely going to win some fights. We'll have to take a peek at who he gets next, so we can hammer that inside the distance. Yeah,
it's gonna all be a matchup dependent sort of situation for Mr. Gaziev, but he looked great in this fight. So that is UFC 296. We did lose one fight. We were right. We were wrong about the guy. My bet was Muslim Salikov was going to pull out, but it was Randy Brown who pulled out.
Yeah, I said he was going to miss weight. So
is that what it probably was?
That's what I thought he was going to. He just got sick.
Oh, okay.
Everybody got sick. Jalen Hurts, Randy Brown, the Cowboys.
Well, we're happy about the Cowboys. I hope that hope that L feels good today, and we will have an Eagles game to talk about tomorrow. But we got Emmett winning $50,000 for his causing a medical emergency for Bryce Mitchell. Irina Aldana and Carol Hosi each get $50K. I think they should have got the 100 G's for that fight. That was incredible. Lipsky gets 50 G's for a nice performance at night in the easy arm bar, and Gaziev gets 50K for his elimination of Martin Buday. So
shout out to Bahrain.
They brought all the big refs out for this card. I think it was the who's who. No Keith Peterson.
No Mark Goddard.
No, he was out there.
He was?
He was Pantoja and Garbrandt.
That's right. Sexy Mark Goddard. How can I forget?
Yeah, they didn't want him to do the Colby Covington fight. He would have got too...
That's pretty fair.
He would have got too emotional during that one. Fight back, Colby!
Yeah.
Fight back! But that was UFC 296. I think it was a pretty good event. I enjoyed it. I'm sad that we're not going to have UFC for a couple weeks now. Kind of sucks, but I guess we have to spend time with our families and stuff like that now. But we do have some boxing. We got a little bit of boxing, Ty. I know there was some boxing this past weekend. I saw David Morrell just eliminate some guy off the face of the earth.
That was Yeah, what a way for Showtime to end their like 38, 40-year run of just dominance, beautiful boxing, the best of the best. And we go out with a David Morrell elimination of some guy that nobody's ever going to remember his name, Sena Agbeko, I think. Yeah, David Morrell's legit, man. That's only his 10th win, only his 10th pro fight. But he has a long, long amateur history out of the Cuban national system. Only 25. I think he should be. I think I would love to see him in Charlo, or him in Plant, or him in anybody that's not Benavidez or Canelo, and then work his way up. I think he's ready. I think you put him in there with somebody like that right now. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I think he's very, very good. I think he's just somebody that's kind of like a boogeyman, right? He's getting avoided by some of these lower guys because like, oh, we don't have to fight him. He's only 8-0. He's only 7-0. Now he's 10-0. So they're gonna have to fight him eventually because he's a killer in there. And in the co-main event, Chris Colbert got knocked out bad. He got put out right against the ropes in a rematch, a fight where they don't like each other. Chris Colbert was once a top prospect, has now lost 2 in a row to Mr. Jose Valenzuela, who looked awesome. El Rayo, not sure what that means. El Rayo, but actually he lost. I'm sorry, he lost to Colbert in that first fight. I thought Colbert lost to Hector Garcia. That's right. So he lost to Hector Garcia, comes back, fights at Valenzuela, got gifted a decision, and then lost the rematch. Okay, so yeah, we'll see what Valenzuela's got. I think he lost to De Los Santos before that. So the card itself wasn't great. Robert Guerrero, Andre Berto somehow actually had a great fight. Guerrero won most of the fight, most of the rounds, but they both looked good at 40. So
there you go.
There's that.
See a bunch of 40-year-olds getting in there.
That card itself was not great. There was something else, right? Yeah, Sonny Edwards and Bam Rodriguez. Bam Rodriguez, one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound. He's probably the best fighter under 25. I believe he's 24, 23. He just beat the shit out of Sonny Edwards badly. I mean, they could have stopped this a round or two earlier. He's at 112, so there's not really much for him to do there. But he's actually leaving 112 to go to 116, probably fight Juan Francisco Estrada in 2024, and then hopefully they can set up down the road at one. I think 122. I think 122, but I think Nia Inoue and Jesse Rodriguez is the fight that they're trying to make end of 2024. That would be a bad. I mean, Nia Inoue has a little bit of. He's got a couple guys that he has to get through first, but that should be easy. He should be able to do that. And man, Bam Rodriguez, Nia Inoue a year from now, that would be one of the best fights you can make in boxing, pound for pound, at 122. That would be amazing. So hopefully that happens. My upset pick of this weekend, Kevin Gonzalez, did not come through. He got smoked by Mr. Akhmadaliev.
There you go.
Akhmadaliev, yeah. I mean, Murhadan Akhmadaliev looked good. He finally, ring rust is a thing. That's why he lost his last fight. So he came back and he smoked Mr. Kevin Gonzalez. But what are you going to do? Also, big upset, or not big upset, but big comeback. Jericho O'Quinn. He was losing to a fellow named Peter McGrail at 122. He was down 5 rounds to nothing. He was getting battered, and he lands this nuclear right hand to Peter McGrail that sends him down and knocks him out. So that was actually one of the biggest comebacks of the year in boxing. So a lot of action, at least this weekend, all around happened.
Yeah, did you happen to see the Jake Paul fight? Or, as long as the 30 seconds that it lasted.
Yeah, that poor fucker, Mr. August. That was actually a really nice uppercut.
It really was.
I can't talk shit. It doesn't matter. That guy's a pro boxer. He's fought guys, that at the very bare minimum, at least he's a pro boxer. But that was nasty. That right uppercut peeked through his guard and sent him to the land of wind and ghosts, joining Mr. Bryce Mitchell, the patron
Dude, Bryce Mitchell is still in the land of wind and ghosts more than likely, just hanging out there like, yo.
Population 1.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Wineland's still chilling in there, just hanging out. Just inviting people in, say, hey, you need something to drink? Just trying to make everyone's time there comfortable.
Did you watch any Karate Combat 43?
No, fuck no.
No, okay. Well, we Anthony Pettis beat Benson Henderson.
I saw that. Benson was pissed.
He wasn't happy. Sam Alvey got back in the winning column. Raymond Daniels got back in the winning column. Brandon Jenkins got back in the winning columm.
No, that's another guy.
Donna. No, it's Brandon. Let's go, Lewis. Come on. Donna Bakary got back in the winning column. Omar Morales got back in the winning column, and Said Yokub Kakramanov got back in the winning column.
So this
pretty
is just
sad
a
card for karate combat.
UFC fucking graveyard. The second you get fucking cut, you just go over there.
Listen, karate combat's paying pretty well, I'm hearing. So, Sam Alvey's on a 3-fight winning streak. Let's bring him back. Johnny Walker, come on.
Johnny Walker's got a big fight after the New Year coming up against the Russian guy. What's Ankalaev?
Ankalaev.
Yeah.
What's Johnny Walker's brother's name?
Volter.
Not Walter.
Still no fight for him.
Still hasn't fought. Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Volter, the Clean Monster Walker. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Jake Collier got canceled. Yeah, so we must wait another day.
I mean, I hope during the Christmas break that I get an update on the Clean Monster, and hopefully we get a fight lined up for him.
Hopefully he's clean. Also, there was some KSW.
Yeah.
The main event was this fellow named Adrian Bartoshinsky. He is 14-0 with 11 knockouts. He fought Saladin Parnasse. He is from France. He is KSW's 145 and 155 pound champion. He went up to 170 to become a 3-division champ. He's 5'10", so it kind of works with his frame. And he's only 26, so he's still young enough to be able to cut that weight. He went up, tried to do it. He lost a unanimous decision in a pretty good back-and-forth fight. Bartoshinsky's 28. He's pretty solid himself, 5'11", good size to him. He pretty much puts everybody out. He's fought some pretty good fighters over there in KSW, and he's knocked them all out, basically. So Mr. Parnasse, bunch of soccer kick knockouts. He has some chokes. He's beaten some pretty good fighters himself. Lost to Daniel Torres and then came back and beat him. He's really good. He's one of the better. They're both two of the better non-UFC fighters in the world, especially at welterweight. Even though Parnasse probably going to fight at 155. That was good. There was I think who else was it? Marcin Held.
Marcin Held
he got decimated by I don't even know, some Georgian fella. He got put out. So I think that's probably the end of Mr. Held's career. Victor Pesta also lost a split decision. Former UFC legend who fought. I forget who he fought. I think it was Tybura. Yeah, it was Derek Lewis, Tybura, Olynyk. Yeah, they all fucked him up. So, yeah, he took an L too. So not a great night for the former UFC guys in Poland.
Well, sometimes it's you win some, you lose some, as long as the outcome is income. So that is what I have to leave you people with. Those guys in the main event should be in the UFC though. For the record, I think we need a little bit of youth. Just infused into
especially at 170, right?
Division.
Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, do that. The KSW champ at 170 is probably going to be a scary guy. Like, no matter who it is, he's probably going to have things on his back like advertisements. Not like GoDaddy or GoPuff or Jake Paul's MVP promotions. Probably
Dude
like
wipes.
Probably do wipes or probably like some Polish war machine company. That's probably what it's going to be. It's advertising on his back. So let's sign them all.
I hope that we get the Poods back in there soon, but it doesn't seem like
we need the Poods in the UFC. I think.
No, we don't. No, we do not.
I think we do. The super heavyweight division: Derek Lewis, Greg Hardy, Justin Taffa.
I'm a fan of a new guy, by the way, boxer. I've announced. I saw a hype video of him this weekend, and I decided to be a fan of his.
Who is it?
Subriel Matias.
Subriel Matias, my boy. Yeah, the Puerto Rican hammer. He's a tough motherfucker. That's for sure. He's supposed to get Teofimo later-ish in 2024. Almost said 2014. Sheesh. Teofimo has a fight lined up in February. I think it's just a get-right fight. Kind of keep him busy. Just make sure he doesn't try to drive off a cliff one day. Keep him active. And then later in 2024, nobody else wants to fight Subriel Matias. Teofimo wants that smoke. That would be a fucking banger. I would love to see that. Subriel Matias is a tough out for anybody. And also Puerto Rican and Mexico. Is Teofimo Mexican? I don't want to be casually racist, but
I mean, he is American, but I don't know what his...
He is, but I believe he's Spanish. Honduran immigrants. Okay, they're Honduran. Okay. Well, either way. Either way, there's a Hispanic rivalry. They all hate each other, so yeah.
Don't need much to have rivalries in combat sports, so
no.
You just need a little bit the wind to blow a certain way, and you're like, you know what? Fuck you, buddy. Fuck that guy. And there it is.
You know, Tony Ferguson and Colby are making fun of each other. They're talking shit, and then they somehow parlay that 3 seconds later and say, "Yeah, we love you. Let's go finish these British guys.
Go America, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts. That
Let's
was
go
really
Paul
nuts.
Revere these motherfuckers, and they go both lose. So it's like, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
rather easily without winning a round.
Well, maybe I'm thinking, Ty, maybe next week, sometime in between Christmas and whatnot, we come out with our little awards show. I'll start working on it. We'll figure out some awards that we can do. We'll probably rip off another show's awards, and we'll just do our own version of them. That's more than likely what I'll do. But no, I think we should just at least talk. Well, not even awards. Just kind of recap the year. Kind of talk about some of the guys that
we can definitely talk some high highs, low lows. I think overall this year was not great for the UFC. I think they've had better years, but
for sure.
You know, it's kind of hard to really top 2016 for sure with Conor and Ronda just absolutely bringing the sport to a new level.
That will always be my favorite. That's kind of what brought me into the sport, like wholeheartedly. I was kind of a casual.
That honestly did. Yeah, I think all of us were. I think that really just elevated the level of casuals to non-casuals, and then it brought a lot of non-fans into being casuals. You know, it just brought so many different faces and eyes to the sport and ESPN. And then they sold the UFC. So the merger, the sale, the ESPN deal, everything. So pretty much ever since then, it's just picked up. See, I guess even before that was like 2014 when John Jones started. But so we'll have fight of the year, we'll have knockout of the year, submission of the year, maybe comeback of the year. I can kind of think of a couple of good candidates off the top of my head. Manager of the year, fraud of the year. We definitely have a couple frauds of the year.
We'll have a fraud of the year.
Fraud of the year. Best bet that we made this year. I already know my worst bet.
Yep.
I already know your worst bet. It's every single one. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, literally. That's almost like which one.
Best bet's gonna be hard to find. I don't know what my best bet was. Maybe who's the guy who got the upset over? It just happened. He didn't have any wins, right? Not Shannon Ross. He beat Anshel Jubilee, I think. It was Mike Breeden.
Mike Breeden,
Mike Breeden. That's the best bet of the year for me.
For sure.
But we'll have to go over it, and then we'll do a bunch of other awards. You know, we'll make predictions. Maybe we'll shuffle around our pound for pound rankings.
For sure, we'll have a lot of stuff.
So,
we rarely have a pod where me and you just kind of talk about MMA as opposed to like we're always breaking stuff down or talking about what's going to happen.
I like the free for all we could have.
No, we'll have a little free for all here to end the year, and we will obviously have some Eagles breakdown tomorrow for anybody who's listening. So we got a big game in a couple hours here. So until then, my name is Matt McSweeney.
I'm Ty Capone.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. And as always, please make sure to not mention any deceased relatives before you are about to fight because it's not a good look.
Merry Christmas.